She strikes up this deal with this Duke, I want to say, well, obviously, this Duke on the, wow. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey, and we're about to get very, very nerdy with all the books that I bought in January. There are so many. I don't know what happened in January. I broke. Just gonna say that. I have a lot of books to tell you. I have no idea how many there are here, but there are a lot. Let's just get into it. Some of these you've already seen because of TBRs, but let's just get into the mini books I have to show you. The very first book that I have to show you is one that you have probably seen before on this channel, and that is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a book that I recently picked up, and you would have seen in my husband's TBR where I picked 5 books that he needs to read by the end of 2021. This reminds me of, if you've seen the movie Knives Out, this girl gets a letter to this mansion and says that she is now the inheritance of this giant fortune, and the family is not okay with that. And I don't think that she's ever met the guy who has given her all this money. Like, she has no interaction with why all of a sudden she has received this money. But she has. And I think there's a game out of it. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but if you see across the front, it says she came from nothing, they have everything, let the games begin. And I do know that there is a sequel to this book that is coming out in 2021. So I'm very curious to see what this is about, but it just seems fascinating. And it's a mystery book, and this came out relatively soon at the end of 2020, and everyone has been raving about it, and I wanted to get my hands on it because it sounds amazing, and something that I think both me and my husband will enjoy, so picked this one up. The next one is one that I've had my eye on for a while, but I honestly didn't even know when it came out. I think it's been out for a while, and I just didn't notice it until recently. And that is The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds Reed. Now, this is a book that I have had my eye on since about the summer, but it is set in like 1992. So technically this is historical fiction, which is like stressful to me because I was born in 95, and like that's only like 3 years before I was born, and I cannot process that, to be honest. So it's still contemporary to me. Like, I refuse to believe that that is historical fiction. Like, no. This book really revolves around our main girl named Ashley, who is just, you know, trying to survive her senior year. And it takes place right about the time where an LAPD officer was acquitted, or LAPD officers were acquitted for beating a black man named Rodney King half to death. She goes from being like one of the friends to being one of the black kids. And so it's like her world just changing, with everyone kind of all of a sudden really focusing on the color of her skin, her family kind of like changing, her life changing. It just seems like it's going to be very thought-provoking and something that's really gonna just, I don't know, like there's just like the whole dynamic of her versus her friends. I don't know, it just seems like it's going to tackle some very hard topics. So very interesting things that we should probably still for sure be discussing. And I wanted to, you know, try it out. And I've heard some really great things about this book, and just listening to the author talk about it made me really, really want to buy it and read it myself. So that is one that I also picked up this month. And then the next one is one that I wasn't even sure if I was going to pick up. But I did, because I have no self-control. And that is The Duke and I, the first in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn. I, like many, many people around the world, got hooked and sucked in by the Bridgerton show on Netflix and wanted to go in and read all of the original work. I know there's like a series of 8 or 9 books, I think, one following each sibling within the Bridgerton family. This book follows Daphne, who is the 4th oldest kid, the oldest daughter in this family, during the season trying to find a husband. She strikes up this deal with the Duke, who really doesn't want to get married and just wants to be left alone. And Daphne really, really needs to be thought of as a desirable match. So them pretending to have an engagement makes all the moms and daughters leave the Duke alone and makes her seem more desirable to the rest of the men in society. There's some very controversial things that happen within this book, within the series, and I know that going into it, there's an entire conversation revolved around a rape scene that happens in this book. I'm very aware of the conversation surrounding that scene, so I just wanted to kind of give that little disclaimer on top. If this is something that you're interested in, that's definitely part of this series, but I'm really interested to see kind of like the rest of the siblings and how they are, but obviously I had to start with the first book before I got to the rest of them. I'm hoping to invest in the rest of the series at some point, but I am getting started with this one because I think this is a series I'm going to enjoy, and I'm curious to see how the book stands up to the TV series, because I've heard that it's a pretty good comparison for most things. So I just gave it a shot, and it wasn't that expensive, and it's a mass market paperback, which they're just fun. So I decided to pick that one up as well. The next one I picked up is one that I've had my eye on for a while, but it is a anthology, which I usually don't read a whole lot of, but I'm hoping that, like, this has got a lot of really great names in it, so I'm hoping to read this one. And that is Black Enough, Stories of Being Young and Black in America. Now this is edited by E.B. Zaboy, which is the author who wrote Pride, which I freaking love. But it's got some really, really amazing authors in here. Some of the ones that I recognize: Daniel Clayton, Nick Stone is in here, Jason Reynolds is in here, Renee Watson, E.B. Zaboy herself is in here. Like, those are just, there are so many. I'm hoping that this is something that what I will do is like read a story here and there over the next couple of months, and then maybe I will finish it that way. I think like dedicating a month to reading an anthology is difficult for me, so I'm hoping that will make this a little bit easier, but I really am interested in this. I really, really, really wanted to read this, and I've had my eye on it for a while, like I've said about 3 different times now. So, and also all of the names in this really intrigued me. So yeah, fingers crossed I will get around to this relatively soon. It also feels really cool. It's got like a matte cover. The next book that I picked up is one that you will have definitely seen before, especially in the very last video that I did, and that is Dear Haiti, Love Elaine by Micah and Maritza Moulit. This is two sisters who wrote this story together, following Elaine, who has done like a prank at school and it's gone terribly, terribly wrong. So she's basically like not shipped off, but kind of shipped off to her family in Haiti, where she's discovering quite a lot about herself, quite a lot about Haitian culture, quite a lot about her own family's history. And I believe that she does a kind of like school project along with that as well. So this book is written in kind of a mixed media format. There are prose in this book, but there's also like journal entries within this book. There are emails within this book, messages between this book. I don't know what this is, but that looks cool. I definitely saw like a letter in here at one point. There was a Venn diagram in here when I was flipping through at one point as well. Here are some text messages. So it's got a total mix of about 10 different things within this book. And I've heard really great things about this, so I'm planning on reading this in February, as you would have seen in my TBR video, but I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about all of these. I should just stop saying excited because it's true for every single thing in this video. So the next one is one that I have had my eye on for a long time. I first discovered it on a website that I've now forgotten the name of, but that's okay because we're boycotting that website anyway. Bargain Books, y'all know what I mean. I finally found this on Bookshop and decided to finally pick it up because I've had my eye on it, and that is Lifestyles of Gods and Monsters by Emily Robertson. This is a modernized retelling of the Minotaur story from Greek mythology, which follows this family who basically, like, the Minotaur is an offspring between the queen of this this country and a bull, and so the king puts it in this maze, and every year, to punish his other people, he makes a bunch of people go into the maze to kill this minotaur, and no one has survived it. And this takes place in a modernized version of it. This kind of reminds me of Hunger Games because it's a televised version where like all these different people go into what's called the Labyrinth Contest, which is a TV extravaganza, and no one has ever survived, but it follows the sister of the Minotaur, just like in the original Greek mythology, who falls for one of the guys who goes into the maze, and so she does what she can to help him survive. So we'll see, but Greek mythology retelling, yes please. Excited about that. The next book that I picked up was Smash It by Francesca Simone. This just looks like an awesome, fun, contemporary book that I'm so excited about. And it follows our main character, Liv, and it's about her in high school, and I think she also gets involved in the drama program as well. But basically, she's fed up, she's had enough. So she creates what is called, pardon my French, a fuck it list. And I love that. She does all of these amazing things, which is one of them is trying out for the school musical, saying yes to dates, making new friends, and then I think that she has like 3 different guys in her life that she's kind of interested in and are interested in her. It sounds like chaotic goodness, and I'm so ready for it. So, I've had my eye on this since, I don't even know, the summer of last year probably. And I didn't even know when it came out until I saw it on the shelves and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I need. So, I bought. The next one is the only other one in this video you would have already seen because it's also in my my February TBR. And that is Majesty by Catherine McGee. This is the sequel to American Royals, which I read, and I believe it was December. And I just freaking loved that book. It was so, so good. It's kind of set in an alternate universe where George Washington, instead of becoming the first president of the United States, becomes the first king of the United States, and it follows his descendants in today's time. It's very drama-filled, kind of reminds me of Gossip Girl, but surrounding royals, and I think it's going to be great, so I cannot wait to dive into the second one. Because there are so many cliffhangers at the end of the first one, and like I needed this one. The next book is a poetry book, and it is a self-published poetry book, which is even better, and that is Goddess of the Hunt, poems by Shelby Eileen. This one is one that I think I saw on Cece from Problems of Book Nerds channel, I don't know, so many months ago, but it's like Greek inspired, Greek mythology inspired as well. And it's not very long, but we love self-published books, we love self-published poetry books, and we also love Greek mythology in this house. So, like, this had everything in one. So, yeah, I don't even know what to tell you about it because, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it looks amazing, and I am very, very excited about this. I'm just collecting poetry books that who knows what I'm going to read. The next one is an indie published fairy romance book, which I'm sure many of you have probably heard because it has been flooding the internet. And that is A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. This is part of the Married to Magic series, but I believe this is the first one and they're all kind of like companions. But it is an indie published book, and this cover, first off, is stunning, but it just sounds amazing and I want all of it. Also, like, do you see these pages? Like, the chapter heads? So pretty. Everything about this. Ooh, look at this map, though. This book is pretty. That's basically what I'm saying, is this book is stunning, and I can't wait to dive in. This basically takes place in a world where humans were hunted for thousands of years, and then there was a treaty that kind of, like, let them survive. It takes place during our main character's lifetime, who is Luella, and in her village, for centuries, basically what happened is the Elf King comes and claims one of them to be his human queen bride, and it's basically thought of as a death wish, a death mark. Once you're taken, that's it, you're never seen again. And so Luella is really happy that she escaped that during her childhood, and she is focused on biology and being kind of like the healer for her village, till the Elf King unexpectedly comes and claims her. And there's a whole lot of stuff, according to the back, that's going to happen. Like, there's kind of a magic, and like the world is dying and she can only save it. I don't know. It sounds like fantasy goodness, and also like, it sounds like it's going to be kind of like a hate to love a little bit, which makes me excited because that's one of my favorite tropes. So, had to get my hands on this beautiful indie published book. I need to investigate and like invest in some more indie published books. So if you have any good indie ideas or books that you love, let me know. Need some recommendations. I think this is also indie published, but I might be wrong. But the next one that I picked up is Queen of Coin and Whispers by Helen Corcoran. But this if I understand correctly, is a female-female romance. That makes me so happy. So this follows our main character, Leah, who has just inherited her very corrupt uncle's throne. And she brings with her a new spy master named Xania? That seems wrong. And basically they have to trust each other, they have to figure out who to trust. And I believe Xania has a whole, like, revenge plot as well that's happening. But they form feelings. And I'm very excited about it. Also, this cover is stunning. I can't remember where I heard about this first, but I've only ever heard it mentioned like once. So I was very excited to finally get my hands on it, and I think it's going to be amazing. The next book that I acquired is actually one that was gifted to me by one of my lovely friends, Serena from A Wandering Mind, and that is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I am so excited. So this is the first in a companion trilogy that follows all three Brown sisters. The second one is Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and then I believe the third one is coming out this year, but I don't know the cover or the title off the top of my head, so I'll insert the cover. But it just follows the three Brown sisters as they have romantic shenanigans, and I am excited. So this follows our main character, Chloe Brown, obviously, who is a chronically ill computer geek, is what it says here on the back. And she has a kind of near-death experience, so she decides that she's gonna live her life, dang it, and she makes a list of some of, like, the most ridiculous things, like enjoy a drunken night out, ride a motorcycle, go camping, and travel the world with nothing but hand luggage, like all of these very kind of rebellious-ish things. So she enlists the help of her handyman, Redford, known as Red, to kind of like help her out because he has a motorcycle, he's got tattoos, he just sounds like an all-around rebel, and so she enlists his help. And obviously there is going to be a romance there as well, but we don't know what that's going to be, and I am very excited about it. I've heard amazing, incredibly amazing things about this series, and I cannot wait to get started on the first one. So Serena, thank you so much for gifting me this book. I'm so excited. Okay. Calm. The next one I picked up is one that I didn't think I was actually going to pick up. But my friend got one of those, like, buy two, get a third free deals, and couldn't come up with a third book, and I said, I will help, so, thanks, Lauren. And that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Finally did it, finally bit the bullet, and picked this one up. I've been holding out on this one because I don't particularly love the hardback cover. It's fine, but it's just kind of boring. And then once I saw that this was going to be the paperback cover, I said, okay, I need the paperback. So I finally picked it up. I'm gonna be honest, I'm sure all of you know what this book is about, and I don't even know how to explain it. I think it follows this guy who, like, goes into books, but, like, not really, but discovers a book that's about his life. Who really knows? That's kind of the feeling I feel like most people get when they read Erin Morgenstern's books, is this kind of, like, uncertain, we're not sure what's happening, but we're here for the ride. And that's kind of the way I feel about this. So I finally got my hands on a copy that I've been wanting to get my hands on for a while. The next book I picked up, that was a very big sigh, but there's a reason, is one that I never thought that I would pick up. Because it's the second in a trilogy. I, like, somewhat enjoyed the first one, not like the most amazing thing I've ever read, but didn't hate it, kind of enjoyed my time reading it. And I was like, if I continue with this series, I'll just pick them up from the library. But I saw this one in the Books A Million, and it's stunning. So we picked it up. And that is The Camelot Betrayal by Kiersten White, which is the sequel to The Guinevere Deception, which I read last year sometime, but I honestly can't even tell you what month it was. But this cover just has the most beautiful colors, but if you take the cover off, it has this very beautiful blue, but also this very nice crown as well. And it ended up coming home with me. So, it's about Camelot, it's about Guinevere, it's Arthurian legend, and I'm kind of interested to see where the story's going to go, because there are definitely some characters within this series. For example, the Lancelot character freaking love them. I want to see what's going to happen with their character story. So yeah, I decided to give it a shot because I didn't hate the first one at all. I definitely had enjoyable time reading it. It just wasn't the most amazing thing I've ever read. But the second one is so pretty. So kind of a cover buy, but also like I'd already read the first one, so kind of knew what I was getting into. But I have no idea what this book is about, I'll be completely honest. The first one follows Guinevere, who is the wife of Arthur, and she comes to Camelot, and it's really about her kind of just discovering the world of Camelot. However, Guinevere is not who she says she is, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding her and Arthur and Merlin and all of them. So I am excited to continue with this series, and it's just it's so pretty. Like, I can't show you because of the shine, but stunning. And the last two books I have to show you are books that I have already read, but I loved so much that I needed to get my own copies. And the first one is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. This follows our main character named Ben, who at the very beginning of this book comes out to their parents as non-binary, and their parents kick them out. And so they don't know where to go, so they finally find their way to their sister's house, and they haven't really been on speaking terms, but their sister accepts them in, and her husband try to like help them out as Ben is trying to figure out everything about their life. And also there's a love interest, and it's so lovely. And I loved this book when I read it, so I'm so glad to have my own copy that I can go back and reread and now tab the crap out of. I'm so excited. And the very last one, pretty much almost in the exact same vein as the last one, is A Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake, which I also read in March of last year. And I loved this, and I can do the same thing. I can't wait to reread this and tab the crap out of it. But this basically follows our main character, Mara, who is put in a very difficult position because her brother has been accused of rape, but the person who accuses the brother of rape is Mara's very good friend. So she's stuck between a brother who's, I think, her twin, that's never lied to her, and a best friend who was also never lied to her. And so she's just kind of like stuck between who to believe because they're both saying conflicting things. So this is a difficult story to read, but it's written in such a way that is very easily digestible. So obviously trigger warnings out the wazoo for this book when it comes to rape, sexual assault, contempt, victim blaming, everything that you can possibly think of that surrounds that. It definitely has those as well. But it was such an amazing story, and I was swept up by it, and I devoured it within 2 days that I knew I immediately wanted to get my hands on my own copy. And I'm so glad that now I have that copy. And like I said, I can tab the crap out of it. It's going to be a good day. So, we've been here for a little bit, but those are all of the books that I acquired in the month of January. Hopefully February will not be nearly as bad. I have no self-control. I've just accepted that. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this large haul. And if you've read any of the books that I have mentioned, please let me know your thoughts down below. I am so excited for a lot of these, and oh, they're so good. They're going to be so good. But if you did enjoy this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there as well as other bookish things, so don't forget to check those out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!